Hi, I'm Edie Hand, and welcome into Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles. Thank you for joining Dr. Potts and I. Today we've got some great guests. Bill Bowron, who is the CEO of Red Diamond Tea and Coffee, is going to be joining us. Also, Joy Hall Thompson. She's with Southern Sisters, a great restaurant you'll want to catch right there in Thomasville, North Carolina. We also have a tip from Dr. Evelyn Higgins about how to stay fit. You won't want to miss it, so stay with us.
Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles is brought to you in part by the Edie Hand Foundation, www.ediehandfoundation.org. Enjoy the latest books from Edie Hand. A portion of sales benefit charities such as St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Visit www.ediehandfoundation.org or your local or online bookstore. Pick up your copies today. A Pocket Guide for the Alzheimer's Caregiver by Dr. Daniel Potts and his wife Ellen helps you understand this disease and get the best care possible. Go to alzpocketguide.com or any online bookstore for your copy. You're watching Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles with Edie Hand and Dr. Daniel Potts.
Hi, I'm Edie Hand, and welcome into Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles. And I'm here with our special guest, Bill Bowron. He's the CEO for Red Diamond Tea, and we've got our good friend here, Dr. Daniel Potts.
Edie, good to see you. Bill, good to see you.
Nice to see you, Dr. Potts.
Well, we're here to talk about your family's history. You said 4 generations.
We've been in this business, the coffee and tea business, since 1906, which makes us the 3rd oldest coffee and tea company in the United States run by the same family.
That's amazing in itself. And I tell you, I was so impressed with your facilities and where you are. And I certainly want to come for a tour. I mean, I was just impressed by walking. It was so grand. And I thought, what a great place to come to work every day.
Oh, it is a great place to come to work. But it's that way not only for the facility itself, but because of the people we have that work with us.
I could tell that.
They're really sharp, and they believe in what they do. And we're growing a great business.
Tell me about this tea and coffee. We're sipping on a little coffee this morning.
We are. We're sipping on the South's finest coffee. It's 100% Arabica coffee that we import and blend and roast right in Birmingham. And we ship it all over the country and to Mexico and parts of the Caribbean.
Now, you being a neurologist.
Yes.
Could you tell us about some tea? Is that tea good for us that he's got?
Well, I'm a neurologist who drinks coffee and tea because first of all, I need it to stay awake. Secondly, I do believe it's good for our health. I think it's good for the brain. We have antioxidants that are present in these coffees and teas. There's some studies out that show that coffee may be preventative for Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, etc. And so, you know, there's a lot of data that's being amassed about this. Right.
It's also preventative for divorce because a lot of people have a nice cup in the morning and things go better.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna write that on the wall.
But
yes, that's good.
In reality, there are a lot of studies that are just beginning to come out about coffee that talk about the fact that it retards Alzheimer's and perhaps Parkinson's.
Yes.
There are also studies that are out there that are saying it's good for your liver and that it is good for certain forms of cancer such as breast cancer. So those are great things, and those are very new. On the tea side, you know, we've had a little bit longer run at tea because tea is a 5,000-year-old beverage. But about 20 years ago, the Tea Association of the United States began to sponsor symposiums, the 5th of which comes up in September in Washington. Since those symposiums began to shed some light on the strength of tea, there are now over 300 studies a year that are done that are showing that tea is beneficial cardiovascularly. It is beneficial for certain types of cancer as a preventative, as well as a stroke preventative. So, you know, there are great things that are going on about that. All of it is tied, both coffee and tea, to the flavonoid content that is found. And although George Bush didn't like his broccoli, you could certainly drink a lot of coffee and tea.
Absolutely. And one of the things we were saying a minute ago, Edie, I'll bring up again, tea and coffee time in my home, growing up in Aliceville, Alabama, rural Alabama, was a very sort of a sacred time almost. It was a time to relax, a time to be with family, a time to reminisce, and sort of nothing intruded in that. And I think that's good for our health too, to have those times of relaxation.
Well, I mean, we're talking about healthy lifestyles. I mean, among all of us is that when you're executives and you're rushing and you're going, we all need to take a moment to relax. And I was sharing with Bill the other evening by an email. I said, I'm sitting here sipping on my Red Diamond tea that is calming me. And I wasn't just saying that, but it's true. But I come from a long line of hot tea and honey drinkers anyway.
Oh, do you really?
I do.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the great things about tea is that you can judge the finer the tea, the better the tea. Typically, you have a higher level of flavonoid content. So in our case, of the majors, we have the highest level of flavonoid content of any of the major tea brands that are out there.
Well, do you think that, with me being a cancer survivor and going through some chronic illness of things, I'm thinking that this might be something I ought to do. Should I do something like this twice a day, Doc?
You need to have a tea habit. I mean, what would you say? I would say certainly once a day, maybe twice.
On coffee, they're saying from 2 to 3 cups a day, and then on tea, anywhere from 3 to 5, which just means that you will be awash.
Some people might think that anyway.
No comment. No comment. We do have to. We'll bring up also that some of us have to be careful about our caffeine intake. And certainly, we have to watch that at times. Some individuals do, but we have decaf.
You have decaf, and actually, in terms of coffee, caffeine has not been proven to be the beneficial part of what they're looking at. Coffee actually goes through a change in chemistry as it's brewed and as it's roasted. And so it is the chemical equations that are somehow improving the health of at least the lab mice that they're trying it on at this point. From a tea perspective, there are a lot of very, very solid studies that all of these things are true. And it doesn't matter whether it's green or black tea, all right, because they both have flavonoid contents, they both have different types, but they're both equally healthy.
Well, Bill, you've certainly enlightened us, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers out there, but if they want to learn more about it, they can pick up certainly your products at the grocery stores, or restaurants that you
or contact us on the web.
And that web is?
And that's www.reddiamond.com.
I bet he knew that real well, right?
Yes,
well, I want to thank you too, Doc. It's pretty good. And thank you for watching us right here on Prescriptions for Healthy Lifestyles. And we'll be back after these messages. Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles is brought to you in part by Southern Sisters, Southern Food, Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm.
Southern Sisters is the place to go for hometown cooking. If you can't make it to the restaurant and bakery in the Carolinas in person, place your order online, southernsisters.info, or call 336-474-8620. Be sure to visit the Colonel's website to order some of his delicious Cajun seasoning. Visit colonelpaul.com. You'll also find there the incredible cookbook, Cajun and Creole Cooking, with Miss Edie and the Colonel. It includes recipes, Cajun cooking history, and much more. Or you can check it out at ediehand.com. Order yours today, 205-988-0788.
Hi, I'm Edie Hand.
I'm Paula Lombard.
And Paula, thank you for being here today. We've got Pave the Way to make a difference with your pink wipers to wipe out breast cancer. And how can we do that?
Go to our website, autotexpink.com.
Make a difference and pave the way.
You're watching Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles with Edie Hand and Dr. Daniel Potts.
And welcome back. I'm Edie Hand, and we're here with Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles. And joining me in Dale Smith Thomas' kitchen is another 3 name of Joy Hall Thompson.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to get started on a great day.
Well, I'm so glad you came, because what I have learned is about Southern Sisters, and you're going to share a few secrets, not all of them.
A few secrets I am happy to share with you.
Well, tell me first of all, what got you into wanting to have a restaurant, a bakery, a loft of entertainment for gathering? So who inspired you to do that?
Well, I think I'm a little bit crazy, but
Well, then you'll fit right in with my group.
Well, good. My mother was a great cook, is still a great cook, and taught me a lot about what I know. I remember being in her kitchen and as a young child and making biscuits with a big wooden bowl and making a well and building in the flour. And so I have such great memories from that, and I kind of wanted to share that with my children. And so
and you have girls.
I do. I have 4 daughters and 1 son, and he's helping me in the kitchen too.
I love it. So is that where the name came from?
Yes, Southern Sisters. So we still have to do something for the boy, but
we'll figure that out, right? Make the clothes.
Yes, but we're going to make the girls work, so I named it for them.
Well, this very first recipe I'm looking at, what is this over here?
These are fried green tomatoes.
Famous. And you know the fried green tomatoes, you've seen the movie.
I love the movie.
Fanny Flagg's a friend of mine. She's from Alabama.
Wow, how interesting.
Bit of fact.
Yes.
So what have you got going on in that recipe?
So in my fried green tomatoes, it's a traditional Southern recipe. Most people know how to make it, but I jazzed it up a little bit. I've lived in different places. I lived in New York for a little while, and I lived in Hawaii for a little while. So I've kind of taken flavors from all the places I've lived, and I have kind of an eclectic style, but I've blended that with my Southern cooking. So in my green tomatoes, we use a basil pesto, but we use it with pecans. Now basil pesto is usually made with pine nuts, as you know.
Right.
And so in my basil pesto, I use sweet and spicy pecans, so it makes it a little bit
Gives
different.
it a little
Gives it a little different taste. And then we used a roasted red pepper coulis and a honey aioli. And that complements the green tomatoes quite nicely.
Well, the presentation looks great too.
Yeah, it's great for Christmas too. I mean, the holidays, it's just vibrant colors in it, and it's a great presentation.
Well, tell me too, when people, we like to eat a lot and we look at all these different foods, what do you do to curb your appetite a little bit? Because this is a healthy show, but in the South, we tend to use a lot of butter and a lot of stuff.
We do, butter and shortening and all that good stuff. But what I have found is that I think one of the neatest tricks that maybe you wouldn't expect, but when our family sits down to our dinner table, we all try to focus not only on the food, but on the conversation. And I think that's something that is missing in a lot of Southern homes and busy homes around America, is that when we sit down at the dinner table now, we're so rushed to get to the next activity that we don't really have conversation. And if you're increasing your conversation with each other, you're not thinking about the next bite, you're thinking about your next sentence.
I love that. That's a great tip for everybody out there.
Yeah, we encourage that at our household and encourage that at everybody's household, because it creates family bonding and memories that you'll never forget.
I agree. Some of my best ever of my grandmother too. She taught me buttermilk biscuits and chocolate gravy. Do you do that over there in North Carolina?
Oh, honey, yes we do.
Now next, what is this recipe that we've got with chicken, peaches, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's peach Jezebel chicken. It's one of our top sellers in the restaurant.
Peach Jezebel. Well,
and
there we
it's
go.
a peach sauce that we make. We add a little apple jelly and some horseradish. That's the surprise
And the
ingredient.
sides, what have you got there?
Tomato casserole. That's also one of our biggest vegetables, and it goes on top of one of our burgers, and we call that Southern Sisters Burger. Now, you might need a defibrillator with that one. But
feel the arteries.
Yes, ma'am. And we have our mac and cheese, and our Southern mac and cheese is just extra creamy and good.
I love it. And this meatloaf, you can't be in the South and not have good old Southern meatloaf.
That's right. And this is another thing that you can do if you're trying to watch how much you're eating, is to bake meatloaf in cupcake pans. Now, these are really large.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
That's what we do at the restaurant. We do that large size. But if you're trying to cut back at home, make it in smaller cupcake pans and then serve individual servings. It's great for parties too. If you do the mini cupcake pans of meatloaf, those are great appetizers.
That's a great tip. Now tell us, what is your website?
My website is www.southernsisters.info.
And I'm telling you, it's a great website. All kinds of people are going to be coming to Thomasville, North Carolina to check out everything you've got going on. But they won't be remiss if they don't go to your bakery. They got to go to your bakery.
They got to go to the bakery.
Tell us about the bakery.
You're wearing the apron with the logo of the bakery. It's called Sprinkle of Sugar.
Yes.
And it is just a sprinkle of sugar, maybe a little bit more. But this is our traditional vanilla cake. And when we started the bakery, this was one of my creations that kind of happenstance, but it has become one of the favorites in the restaurant.
It's like a signature for you.
Yes, ma'am, it is. And it's the strawberry margarita cake. So we have a fresh lime buttercream with lime zest. We have a strawberry buttercream, and it's layered in between our classic vanilla cake.
And let's cut this just a little bit as we get
Okay.
ready to wrap up here. And what I love is that this cake also sparkles like you.
Oh, well, I don't know like me, but I like things that sparkle.
You do sparkle. And I want to thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your Southern sisters with us. And I tell you, we're going to be coming over to your neck of the woods, and we're going to be doing a cooking show from her bakery and her kitchen. How about that?
That's wonderful. I have appreciated your Southern hospitality, and I can't wait to show you mine in Thomasville, North Carolina.
Thank you so much. And thank you for watching us right here on Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles. Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles is brought to you in part by Children's of Alabama, 100 years caring for children.
Hi, I'm Senna House, and I am taking a minute with Children's to learn how to pack a healthy lunch. This is my friend, Sue Teskey, and she's the director of the nutrition program at Children's. Miss Sue, what should I pack in my lunch?
Well, Senna, one helpful tool you can use is My Plate. You can include fruits and vegetables, a meat or meat alternative such as nut butters or cheese, a dairy product such as skim or non-fat milk, and whole grains such as whole wheat bread or crackers.
So, is what I eat at school each day important to helping me learn?
Absolutely, it helps with your performance at school as well as sets up healthy habits for later in life. For more information, you can visit the websites of the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics.
Thanks so much for this valuable information, Miss Sue, and thank you for joining us for A Minute with Children. I'm Senna House, and until next time, eat smart.
Wake up, it's Toyota time at Scott Crump Toyota. Drive with zero down. Financing as low as 0%. Plus, make no payments for up to 90 days. Get new Corollas with navigation, $14,940. Camry SE, $199 a month. Or try before you buy with Toyota Rent-A-Car. It's the best time. It's Toyota time. Don't let time run out. Scott Crump Toyota on Highway 78 in Jasper. Online at scottcrumptoyota.com.
At Scott Crump Toyota, we'll do whatever it takes.
Here's a prescription for a better life with Dr. Evelyn Higgins.
And today's health tip is about wellness. And you know, when I tell patients this, they kind of look at me like the deer in the headlights, the glazed over look. When I say health is more than simply the absence of disease. But that's the way I want to get you to start thinking. Health is more than simply the absence of disease. You're not healthy one day and sick the next. It's all the day-to-day living that we do in between that brings us to either place. So I want to talk about what you have the power of in your life. You know, you don't have the power of the DNA because that's already made up. What you have the power is in how you look at what I call the 4 pillars of health: the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, as well as the spiritual. And what are you doing each and every day for those components of your health? It doesn't have to be, you know, reading War and Peace for the intellectual part of it, but just do something that makes you a better you each and every day. Become the best version of yourself through wellness and looking at your health's big picture.
Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles is brought to you in part by The Vein Guides. Better legs, better life.
Hi, I'm Senna House. I'm taking a minute with Children to learn the differences between some very important tests that children like me might encounter if they ever need an x-ray. I'm here with Ms. Terry Estes, the CT and MRI manager at Children's. Ms. Terry, what are the main differences between a CT and an MRI?
A CT is a long table that is in the shape of a donut, so it is a very quick exam. The MRI is a long table that has a tunnel that takes longer to go through, and it is not as fast as the CT.
What should parents expect if they come to Children's and need either one of these tests performed?
They would come here to our registration desk. They would go back to the appropriate department. And one thing to remember is that we have sophisticated equipment where they can bring their own iPod or movie to watch something of their own to make them feel more relaxed.
Thanks so much for this valuable information, and thank you for joining us for A Minute with Children. I'm Senna House, and until next time, stay safe.
Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles wants to help you pave the way to a better life.
Hi, I'm Edie Hand, and welcome back to Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles. We're talking about You Pave the Way, and joining me is Dr. Evelyn Higgins, and we're talking about wellness. How about that?
Thank you for having me, Edie,
Well,
and let's talk wellness.
You're welcome, and I wanted to tell you that wellness is so important to all of us, and we think about preventive measures to make a difference for our lives.
Absolutely.
Could you give us some insight into that?
Well, prevention is obviously the perfect world. You know, if we knew and we kept track of these things, that we would know where we were headed. Everybody's got different, you know, genetic mutations and have to have a family history that we have to look out for. But if we be proactive in this, we can do so much more. For example, when you take the fact that cardiovascular kills more people than anything else, it's chronic and it's preventable. Something that kills more than anything else is preventable.
Especially for women.
That's crazy. And we always thought of it as a man's disease, but that's not the case. Actually, after menopause, because of the estrogen levels changing, you have more propensity towards cardiovascular disease, and more women die from heart attacks as a result, and the signs and symptoms are not the same. It's not the Hollywood crushing, I'm going down kind of heart attack that you would more often see with a man. For a woman, it's much more subtle. And the behavior of a woman is, well, let me put another load of laundry in, I'll handle this later. You keep on going. So it's very different. Prevention in that area is key, and so much of that is with lifestyle. The cancers, prevention, the early detection, so important.
I know for myself as a breast cancer survivor, because of early detection, I got to have a lumpectomy instead of having a radical mastectomy.
Right, right. And there's so much that we can do in that area with early detection and prevention. Prevention, like I said, in the perfect world, this is what we would focus on.
Even for a man with prostate, isn't that very important?
Absolutely.
For that?
Have a PSA test. Simple, simple. These things are so easy.
And we put it off because we're afraid.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We're afraid.
I mean, I probably am in that doctor's office every couple of months because of being a cancer survivor and chronic illness situations. But I encourage people to really go and to see your doctor. If you just think it might not be anything, it is important, I think, to see that physician and make a difference in one's life.
Absolutely. It's much better to be able to rule something out than to say coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Absolutely. I think one of the things, too, that as a physician, what do you recommend? What is the ages that people should really go in for their complete physicals?
Oh, definitely. You know, you want to start looking at 40s, blood work, even before that if there's any family history. But for example, with colon screenings, 50, a little bit of changing with the breast mammograms, for instance.
Well, women 35 and under can.
Absolutely.
But the insurance, you know, that's the key to people today, is we're so terrified that our insurance won't cover it. And it is a shame. And do you think that's probably why our wellness is not at the level it really needs to be?
Oh, no doubt. And while we talk it, physicians aren't reimbursed for teaching prevention to their patients. So the whole model has to change before we're really going to see an end result that changes.
Are we going to see that in our lifetime?
I certainly hope we do.
Well, Dr. Higgins, I appreciate you joining us on wellness. And is there a thought you might could leave our viewers with that they could do regarding wellness?
Really, to look at health as more than the absence of disease, to say every day I bring myself towards health or away from health, and how am I living, and become mindful of the steps that incorporate your day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Higgins.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Prescription for Healthy Lifestyles.